Record.
Well, hello. Nice to see you. My name is Justin Hollander, and I am a professor at Tufts University in the Department of Urban and Environmental Policy and Planning. And this is a little weird. We did a conference last month at Tufts, and the second International Conference of Urban Experience and Design, Ux+Design 2023. We did it. It was amazing. But we're going to now share with you basically what happened at the conference. So the way the conference started is I stood up in front of the room, and there was a big crowd. It was an exciting environment. People were really happy to be there, and I welcomed everyone. So I'm going to do the same thing for you as the virtual attendees in this kind of post-conference video. So maybe just a little bit of context. So I teach at Tufts, and my department is Urban and Environmental Policy and Planning. So we offer professional master's degrees in those fields. And I have the honor to kind of be hosting today and working with Human Architecture and Planning Institute to run this conference. I think it's important to kind of take a moment to acknowledge that this conference did not happen out of thin air. My department, Urban Environmental Policy and Planning at Tufts, was an important financial sponsor, and I want to thank my department chair, Professor Julian Adjament. There was a company, iMotions, that has been also a very important financial sponsor, and I want to acknowledge them. Planning Practice and Research, which is an international journal, part of the Routledge family. They've been a sponsor as well, and they're also going to be publishing papers from this conference in a special issue that I'm going to be co-editing. I also want to thank Ruggles Mabe Studio, whose CEO Emeritus is one of today's speakers, one of the conference speakers, Don Ruggles, and they have also been contributing. And then the last one is Repure. The CEO, Mike Ham, joined us live for the conference, and they also help sponsor. And then the last one is really the Human Architecture and Planning Institute, the HAPI, who's been a big partner in making this happen, and I'll talk about them in just a minute. So yeah, I think one way for us to kind of start is just a little bit of history. So in 2015, Ann Sussman, who is the president of the Human Architecture Planning Institute, and I, back then, before HAPI existed, we decided that there was a lot of enthusiasm around what we were doing in writing that book, and a lot of the research that her and I and others were doing. We thought it'd be good to bring people together, and that was how the first Ux+Design conference, that was in 2019, came to be. And that conference, really was a really exciting moment for me personally, as an academic, as a researcher, just being able to kind of meet people from all over the world. We were just so pleased with the people who came and shared, and that led to all kinds of relationships and partnerships and future research that came from that conference. Even a movie, Don Ruggles, I mentioned earlier, made a movie about these themes, the same themes as the conference, and they had a documentary team that filmed us all, and so there are excerpts from the conference in his documentary Built Beautiful, which I'd encourage you to watch. But one of the biggest things that kind of came from the conference, this kind of new community, was this nonprofit organization. So Ann, Don Ruggles, who I mentioned, Vern Walker, Heidi Priebel, and a group of others came together, and we decided we needed to advance this work in a more systematic fashion. So we created this nonprofit organization, and as president, and it's called the Human Architecture and Planning Institute. We call it the HAPI. And it's really just trying to kind of help develop the research that we're doing, help with public engagement and education, because there's really this kind of really important new way for looking at the built environment that we're all kind of, I think, together really excited about. And so, one way to kind of visualize this new way of looking at the built environment is one of my many new friends and collaborators, through this work is a team in Israel, all the way in the Middle East. Amitay Raphael Shinik, and I'm going to show you a video. Let's see. Oh, it's not showing right. I'm sorry. In the real conference, it actually didn't work correctly either. All right. You'll have to just bear with me for a second while I get it right. That is copyrighted music, so we'll have to edit out the sound. But I will show you the video. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, so Amite made this video as a gift to Anna and I. He was actually supposed to come to the Ux+Design 2023. I should definitely mute the music here. I will just stop sharing altogether. So what am I showing you that for? I mean, of all the things to see, because we are bipedal mammals. We walk about 3 miles per hour. We tilt our heads down just slightly, about 10 degrees. So when we're thinking about the work of architecture and planning, landscape architecture, design, interior design, urban design, we have to start with that. We have to start with ambulation man and ambulation woman. That is, in many ways, the client. And so this conference is really going to be about understanding how they see the world around them and how we can do a better job of building cities, designing places, architecture to respond to their biological needs, and to think about that gait, that head tilt, to think about that as central, not peripheral, but central to the work that we do in the planning and design of the built environment. I mean, one statistic I always love talking about is that we as humans receive around 11 million bits of information into our brains every second. 10 million of those are actually coming through our eyes. So 11 million, 10 million through our eyes. That means 1 million coming through our other senses. And only 50 bits are actually being processed consciously. So that's the same thing. Think about the ambulation man, ambulation woman. They're walking down the street. They're not thinking about where their toes are supposed to point, how they should swing their hips, how their heart should beat. What I mean? They're not thinking about all that stuff. And it's the same thing when they're walking and trying to take in what's going on in their environment. They're not thinking about almost all of it. They're only thinking about a tiny little bit, that 50 bits per second out of the 11 million bits that are coming into their brain, right? So that's what we're going to be kind of talking about today in this conference. I hope you enjoyed this virtual version of Ux+Design 2023, and we welcome your feedback. I personally, just feel free to reach out to email me, visit me at Tufts, and certainly the Human Architecture Planning Institute is really interested in hearing more about what you're interested in, and always looking for new members and partners in doing this work. So I do need to, in addition to our sponsors, I need to thank many people who contributed to making the conference a success. That includes Laura Williams and Maria Nicolau in my academic department at Tufts, Hamo Hael, Joe Riddle, Maria Christofi, and many student helpers who were scurrying around throughout the whole conference, making everything great. And lastly, just want to make a special thank you to Ann Sussman and the Happy Board, who have done so many amazing things to kind of help prepare for the conference. So the next thing that's going to happen is our keynote speaker. So hopefully she'll be able to record a video. Ux+Design is a professor at the Sora Business School at Suffolk University. She's a scholar of the customer experience marketing and directs a biometrics research lab. It's important to note that Ux+Design used to be a professional basketball player and served on the Turkish national team. She was awarded a Fulbright to study at the University of Vaasa in Finland, and is going to be talking about her research into biometrics, the same kind of questions that ambulation man and ambulation women kind of raise for us about how do people experience the world around it. But she uses it in the business context, and we thought it would be great for her to offer that keynote to be able to help us all in the kind of more the built environment field to understand how the business world is kind of looking at some of these same tools and same power. So again, welcome to the conference, and I look forward to getting your feedback and answering any questions you might have. Thank you.